Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be doing Biology Paper 1, May-June 2022. Paper 1-1 is a 45-minute paper and the total marks is 40 marks. Okay, let's begin. So, first question. All living organisms release energy from nutrient molecules within their cells. What's the name of this characteristic? So, they release energy from nutrient molecules. To me, it sounds like glucose plus oxygen equals, arrow, carbon dioxide plus water. So therefore, this releases energy, right? So it releases energy. So therefore, this equation would be respiration. Question 1 is C. The horse and the donkey are able to interbreed. The offspring they produce is called a mule. Which statement is correct? The horse and the donkey are the same genus. The mule is infertile. Horse and donkey are the same species. Mule is infertile. Horse and donkey are the same genus, but the mule is fertile. Horse and donkey are the same species, but mule is fertile. Okay, look. So, they give us the binomial naming for the horse and the donkey. As you see, the first word is the same. So therefore, we're naming something is first genus, then species. So therefore, since the genus is the same, is the first word is the genus, they have the same genus, okay? But they have a different species because the back words are different, right? So, first step, that means B and D is wrong because they have the same genus, not species. And second part, how do you know if the mule is fertile or infertile? So, a species will only be fertile if its parents are of the same species, right? So, the parents must be same species in order for the offspring to be fertile. So therefore, in this case, the horse and donkey are different species, but they are able to interbreed. However, the mule would be infertile, so therefore the answer is A. Question 3. The diagram shows an organism. Which type of arthropod is this organism? So as you can see, it has segmented body and it has many legs, right? Therefore, seeing these many legs, you should immediately bring your mind to a myriapod, right? So, because insects have 6 legs, arachnids have 8 legs, crustaceans have less legs than this. Okay, and each segment has 2 legs. That's also another way you can tell if it's a myriapod or any type of arthropod, right? Okay, next. Question 4. The diagram shows a cross-section of 2 gut cells of a leaf. Which label structures will also be found in an animal cell? Okay, so W is a nucleus, the big black one is a nucleus. X is the cell membrane, Y is a chloroplast, and Z is the cell wall. So therefore, in this in these 2 gut cells, the only similarity it has between this and animal cell is that animal cells also have a nucleus and they also have a cell membrane. So therefore the answer is A. Question 5. The diagram shows a cross-section through a leaf. Which label shows a tissue? So A shows several tissues. So it's more than one tissue, right? So there's several tissues in A. For D, it's a stomata opening. So it doesn't show any tissues. B is showing the waxy layer on the leaf, right? So therefore, out of these 4, the only label which shows the tissue is C, because C shows the spongy mesophyll, right? A shows an organ. Okay, therefore the answer is C. Right? Okay. 6. A student found 4 different worms in a sample of soil and drew diagrams of them. The diagrams were drawn with different magnifications. Which worm was the longest? Okay, so they give you the length of the diagram and they give you the magnification. Therefore, you have to use the magnification equals image over actual formula. So therefore, if you want the actual size, you have to divide the image size by the magnification. So therefore, 60 divided by 3 will be 20, 70 divided by 1 will be 70, 100 divided by 2 will be 50, and 120 divided by 5 will be 24. So therefore, out of these four, the longest worm would be B. Okay. 7. Which statement describes the net movement of particles during diffusion? So, firstly, diffusion goes from higher to lower, okay, down a concentration gradient, and diffusion is also passive, right? So, you see here, so C and D is wrong because it's from lower to higher, so this is wrong. These two are wrong. Okay. Going against the concentration gradient would mean going from lower to higher. So therefore, in diffusion, it is not going from lower to higher, so therefore B is wrong. The answer is A. The diagram shows a section through the mesophyll cell of a leaf. Which part is partially permeable? Okay. Partially permeable would be B because the cell membrane is partially permeable. A, which is a cell wall, is not permeable. C is fully permeable. D is also fully permeable. Okay, so answer is B. 9. What are the smaller basic units of starch and glycogen molecules? So, starch and glycogen are both made out of glucose. So therefore, 9 is D. Amino acids make up proteins. Fatty acids and glycerol make up triglycerides. Okay, therefore, starch and glycogen is glucose. 10. Some terms used to describe enzyme-controlled reactions are listed. Which terms describe an enzyme? So firstly, an enzyme is a biological catalyst. Okay, so 1 has to be correct. So therefore, C and D is wrong. So between substrate and protein, which is correct, it will be 3. 3 is correct, so the answer will be A, because enzymes are proteins. Right? Enzymes are proteins and therefore they can be denatured. Okay, the enzyme will the substrate will fit into the enzyme in its active site. So therefore an enzyme has to be a protein. Okay, 11. The diagram shows two food tests being carried out in solution X. So they added burette solution, which is the test for protein. Okay, and it shows purple, so it is positive. Benedict's shows red, which is positive. Benedict's is for glucose. Okay, or to be more specific, reducing sugar. Okay, so therefore it has protein and it has reducing sugar. So what nutrients are present in solution X? Has to be protein and sugar, which is B. Question 11 is B. Question 12. Which chemical is a product of photosynthesis that moves out of a green leaf through its stomata? So photosynthesis is carbon dioxide plus water get glucose plus oxygen. So therefore the only product that's a gas would be oxygen. So therefore answer is C. Which tissues are found in vascular bundles? Palisade mesophyll and phloem. Palisade mesophyll and spongy mesophyll. Phloem and xylem. Spongy mesophyll and xylem. So in vascular bundles is the transport system in the plant. So therefore only the phloem and xylem are involved in transportation. So therefore answer is C. Okay. 14. What's the dietary importance of fiber in humans? Okay. For growth and repair of cells? No. To help food move through the alimentary canal? Yes. Because fiber cannot be digested by humans, so therefore it helps the food move through the alimentary canal. In which part of the alimentary canal does ingestion take place? Answer is, so ingestion means taking in, right? So where do you take in food is through your mouth. Okay. The diagram shows the human alimentary canal with a string marked in meters beside it. Okay. So this is the diagram. So how long is the small intestine? So the small intestine starts from the stomach. So from this 1, and it will go all the way down until 7, because past 7 would be the large intestine. So from 1 meter to 7 meters, 7 minus 1 equals 6. So therefore your answer is B, 6 meters. Okay. 17. A non-woody plant stem is placed in water containing red dye. It's left for 1 day, and then the section of stem is examined using a microscope. Which tissue stained red? Okay, so what tissue is involved in the uptake of water molecules? Would be xylem, right? Xylem is involved in the uptake of water. So in this stem, which would be the xylem? It would be D. So all of these would be the xylem. The inside ones would be a xylem, and the outside ones would be phloem in the stem. So therefore the answer is D. The diagram of cross-section shows a cross-section through a leaf. From which cell will most water evaporate during transpiration? So most water would evaporate in the spongy mesophyll layer. Yes, because water will evaporate this way into the air spaces, and therefore the water vapor will move out of the gut cell. Therefore answer is D. 19. The diagram shows a cross-section to the heart of a mammal. Which row correctly identifies P, Q, and R? Right. So remember, when you're looking at diagrams of the heart, imagine that this is a person, and you're looking facing them. So therefore, this would be the right side, and this would be the left side. Okay. So, firstly, the smaller section would be the atrium, and the larger section would be the ventricle. Q is a valve. It's called known as the atrioventricular valve. Okay. So therefore, P, Q, and R would be B, because P is on the left. P is an atrium and it's on the left side, so there's a left atrium. Q is on the left side and it's a valve. R is on the left side and it's a ventricle. So therefore, answer is B for 19. Okay. Which process is slower than normal in a person with very few platelets? So platelets is important in the process of blood clotting. Okay. Therefore, platelets used for blood clotting. So if you have few platelets, you have slower blood clotting process. Okay. 21. The body has several defense mechanisms to protect against disease. Which defense mechanism is a chemical barrier? Okay, so this is a physical barrier. This is also a physical barrier. And this is also a physical barrier. So therefore, the only chemical barrier here is B, mucus. A person lives in a climate where the air is very dry. Which row correctly compares inspired air with expired air for this person? So it says that the air is very dry, which means it has low water content. Therefore, low water content means low water vapor, so the answer is B. And just to check, expired air has a higher carbon dioxide concentration because your body takes in oxygen and releases carbon dioxide, so therefore your expired air will have higher concentration of carbon dioxide but lower concentration of oxygen. Okay. Substances involved in aerobic respiration are listed. Okay. So which substances are used in aerobic respiration? As I said in question 1, aerobic respiration looks like this: glucose plus oxygen, you get carbon dioxide and water. So therefore, the substances that are used, so the reactants would be glucose and oxygen. Therefore, answer is C, 2 and 3. Okay. 24. The diagram shows the oxygen uptake by germinating seeds at 2 different temperatures. At which time is oxygen uptake at 20 degrees 4 times greater than 10 degrees Celsius? So you just need to read the graph and see where at what time is the gray bar 4 times the white bar. So let's check 20 minutes. So 20 minutes. So 20 minutes would be 0.36 for the gray bar and 0.09 at the white bar. So 0.36 divided by 0.09, your answer would be 4, right? So therefore, at which time is the oxygen uptake at 20 degrees Celsius, which is the gray bar, 4 times greater than the 10 degrees Celsius, which is the white bar, it will be at 20 minutes. 20 minutes, okay? A person produced 1.5 dm3 of urine on a cool day. How will the volume and concentration of urine change on a hot day if fluid intake is the same as on a cool day? Okay. So, during a hot day, the capillaries, imagine this is your skin, the capillaries would dilate. So it will be wider. So these are hot compared to a cold day where the capillaries are thinner. Why does it dilate? It's because it dilates so that the blood is closer to the surface of the skin, so therefore more energy is released to the environment, so therefore the temperature of the blood will decrease, so therefore it dilates, right? This is called vasodilation. This is called vasoconstriction. The opposite happens, right? The capillaries get smaller, so the distance to the surface of the skin decreases, therefore less energy is lost to the environment. Okay? So therefore, knowing that on a hot day, vasodilation occurs. So if you take the same amount of fluid, the volume of the blood will decrease. Okay? Volume of the blood would, the urine would decrease, and the concentration would increase. Therefore, your answer is D. Okay? Why does the volume decrease? Because as vasodilation occurs, you need more volume of blood in your blood vessels, so therefore you need more water in your blood vessels, so therefore your urine volume will decrease because more water is absorbed back into the body. The concentration will increase because you have less water in the urine, so therefore the concentration of urea would increase, right? Okay. 26. Which hormone triggers the fight or flight response? Okay, the answer will be C. Adrenaline triggers fight or flight. Insulin is for turning glucose into glycogen. Estrogen is for the female reproductive system. Testosterone is for the male reproductive system. Okay. Which organ detects and coordinates the response to changes in internal body temperature? Okay. So, for homeostasis of temperature, regarding temperature, the blood will first be detected by the temperature of the blood will be detected by the brain. Okay, so then the brain will send hormones in order to change the temperature of the internal body temperature. Okay, which statement describes the plant response known as phototropism? So photo means light, tropism is a tropic response. Okay, so all parts of the plant grows towards light. That's incorrect because the roots grow away from light. All parts of the plant grow away from light. That's incorrect because the shoots grow towards light. Plant shoots grow towards light. That's correct. Plant roots grow towards light. That's incorrect because roots grow away from light. So the answer is C. Why is excessive consumption of alcohol discouraged before someone operates machinery or drives a vehicle? Okay, so alcohol, it will okay, so let's see the answers. A, alcohol decreases reaction times. That's wrong because alcohol actually increases the reaction time. So if you decrease your reaction time, you'll have a faster reaction. But if you drink alcohol, you'll have a slower reaction. Okay? Alcohol is not a stimulant, alcohol is a depressant. Okay? Alcohol is an addictive drug. Yes, but it doesn't explain the question. It doesn't explain why it's discouraged before someone operates machinery, right? So therefore, the answer is B. 30. What is an example of sexual reproduction? So sexual reproduction will involve male and female. It will involve male and female parts, right? So let's see which of these involve both male and female parts. So A, one bacterial cell dividing to produce two daughter bacterial cells. That is incorrect. That's asexual reproduction because there's only one parent. One banana plant being divided into two banana plants. That's incorrect. There's only one parent. One yeast cell producing buds which separate to become new yeast cells is much like the bacterial one, is asexual reproduction. And finally, pollen grain nucleus fusing with one ovule nucleus in a flower. So this fertilization process basically tells you that is sexual reproduction. The answer is 30. The answer is C for question 30. The diagram shows a cross-section of an insect pollinator flower. Which label is the stigma? Okay, so the answer is A. A is the stigma. It's the sticky part of the plant where the pollen grains will land on. And B is the anther. C is the ovules in the ovary. And D is sepal. Therefore, stigma has to be A. The effectiveness of different methods of birth control was studied in one country. The graph shows the results of the study. So which birth control is the most effective? Okay. So as we see, the highest effectiveness is vasectomy. So therefore, vasectomy is a surgical procedure. So therefore, the most effective one would be a surgical procedure, surgical birth control. Okay. 33. Beak shape in birds is controlled by genes passed from the parent birds to their offspring. What is this an example of? So, the genes is being passed from the parent birds to the offspring, and the offspring is inheriting the beak shape. So, therefore, if the parents will have the beak shape, the offspring will also have the same beak shape. So, therefore, this is an example of inheritance. Okay. A student used a diagram to explain the inheritance of sex in humans. Which statements should she use to complete boxes 1 and 2? Okay. See boxes. 1 is mother, eggs. Okay. Let's see. So we know that the egg will always have XX. And the sperm will always have XY. Because if you draw a Punnett square, right, the probability of getting male and female would be 50% for each, right? Therefore, the mother has to have XX and the father has to have XY, right? Therefore, to complete box 1 and 2 would be A, because the eggs will have all X chromosome and the sperm will have half an X chromosome and half a Y chromosome. Okay. Which statement about selective breeding is correct? It does not involve humans. It involves a struggle for survival. It always involves one parent. It involves parents that possess desirable features. So selective breeding is artificial, right? It's done by humans. So therefore, A is wrong because it involves humans. It involves a struggle for survival. No, because it's not natural, right? It always involves one parent. That's incorrect because selective breeding can involve more than one parent. The only correct answer is D, involves parents that possess desirable features, right? So that's why you do selective breedings to increase the desirable features aspect of the animal. Okay. 36. Which process uses the principal source of energy input to biological systems? Okay. So source of energy input would be photosynthesis because you are taking energy from the sun. Right? And they are at the bottom. They are the producers. So they are the bottom of the food chain. Right? They are the bottom of the food chain. The diagram shows the water cycle. 4 different processes are numbered. Okay. So which row identify the processes correctly? So know that number 1, when it's raining, is known as precipitation. Okay. Number 2, water is evaporating. The sun causes the water to evaporate. which makes the hot air rise, and therefore as it gets high enough, it will start to condense as it cools down. So formation of clouds is condensation. And finally, number 4 is transpiration, because water vapor escapes from the leaves in plants and forms clouds and as the hot air rises. So therefore, this is known as transpiration. So therefore, the correct answer would be C. Okay. Okay, 38. A herd of red deer live in a forest that contains snakes and a large variety of birds. Which group of organisms is an example of a population? So a population, very simply, is just the number of a species. So all the red deer in the forest would be a population. Okay. 39. Which process makes use of a genetically engineered organism? Okay. Genetically engineered means they change the gene makeup. Okay, they change the gene makeup of the organism. So, for A, insulin is a human, it comes from humans. So therefore, bacteria doesn't originally produce insulin, but since you're using bacteria to produce insulin, it would be a genetically engineered organism, right? Lastly, 40. The food web shows the feeding relationships in a woodland. If all the chaffinches in the food web die, which effect would this have? Right. So the effect would be, so if there were no chaffinches, therefore the number of caterpillars will increase because there's no chaffinches to eat the caterpillars, so caterpillars will increase. Sparrowhawks would decrease because there's less food for them to eat, so therefore the number of sparrowhawks will decrease. The trees would decrease because there's more caterpillars, so therefore it will eat more trees. So if the trees decrease, that means the wood pigeons will also decrease, and the gray squirrels will also decrease because they have more competition with the caterpillars for the food in the trees, right? Therefore, what effect would this have? The amount of damage the trees will increase. Yes, that's the correct answer. See? The food supply for gray squirrels will increase. That's incorrect. It will decrease because there's more competition. The number of wood pigeons will increase. Also incorrect because there's more competition. The population of caterpillars will decrease. Incorrect because it will increase. Okay, so that's it for this paper. So thank you for watching. If you'd like to see more, please like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.